everyone to a wonderful new episode of the Hempy Talks. It's really a pleasure having you and tuning in as bringing in and introducing you to different people in the industrial hemp world from all over the globe. So they really come up with innovative ideas and they're very resourceful. What I noticed so far, they're also very passionate about raising awareness of industrial hemp. So today my guest is Kehrt Reyher, and he is from the US, living in Poland, came up with a wonderful idea of creating a hemp media outlet. And this is what I'm going to ask him more about. Welcome to the Hempy Talks, Kehrt.
Thank you, Beatrix. It's nice to be here.
The first question that usually comes up when people hear about your story, when I heard about your story, was out of all the different angles that you can enter into industrial hemp, how did you enter into the world of industrial hemp, and why creating a media outlet out of all the things that you can do with industrial hemp?
Yeah, well, my wife and I have a rather large property in South Central Poland where we have operated a bed and breakfast. And we had a guest who came here talking about that he was going to build a house with industrial hemp. And I just became absolutely fascinated about this. Now, I am basically, at the time, I'm semi-retired. We had a media communications company in Warsaw for many years that we started right after the revolution in Poland in '89. We came here and started marketing communications, first marketing communications and advertising magazine in Poland. At that time, the market, exploded. We did that for 15 years. We sold it. We bought this place. And we've operated as a bed and breakfast. And a guest came here telling me this story. And I thought, okay, this sounds really strange to me. But he sat with me like the next day, showing me things on the internet and explaining all this. And I became fascinated by it. Okay, so what can I do? I'm not a farmer. I'm not a builder. I don't really care about, developing a product. Okay, all I can do is I'm a journalist. I've been a journalist all of my life. I've been in the publishing business, all of my career. And so I began to look around to see where is the business news about industrial hemp online. And there was really not much. And so I started within a week. My son is a web developer, and we were up and running within a week, and it was moving quite fast at that moment. Yeah, so we caught a nice wave at the right moment. And so my real interest came through. I came into hemp through an interest in the building materials, because this, I think, is still, it's my favorite thing to write about, report about, and the people, to mix it up with, the guys that are doing building materials, technology, everything. It's really exciting. It's a small sector, but it's a big one. So we started, and as a matter of fact, we're 10 years now, coming up this next year. So we started, in some sense, it was like building community within the hemp crowd. You had to give sort of a center of gravity, and I've done this before with trade magazines. This is a trade magazine model. Technology now is much different from when I was a young man in this business, but the function is the same thing. Yeah. So. And it means, okay, online information, fast-moving information for business, get-togethers, so we have done seminars, symposia, sponsored other guys' symposia, participated, been a speaker. And it is, oddly enough, and coming back to sort of my original days in trade media, it is also print. And this is fresh from the printer edition, the special edition that we did for Steve Allen's International Hemp Building Association Symposium, which is 15th and 16th next week, actually, 15th and 16th in Sweden. So that is kind of our motto, yeah. That's how we got started, and the motto, I mean, it's one that is developing over time. Now we've done a partnership with a consulting group in Pennsylvania in the States, and we'll be doing more analytical papers, quarterly reports. We just released a textile report. And so really we're very much interested in hardcore business, the real potential business around industrial hemp. And we all know that is vast.
That's great.
That's where we are today.
Yes, and then it's also great to see like how you're entering, as you know, you say like the guests are knocking on your door and saying, well, we have industrial hemp, and now it's also a nice example of hemp businesses supporting each other. Next week in a conference in Stockholm with the hemp building, and then the hemp today is going to be there, which is great. You know, there is a question that usually comes to mind when we think of media, and I have to give a background to it. Many of the hemp businesses globally, as far as I know, they still suffer from proper media presence for two reasons. One of them is the difference between industrial hemp and cannabis, how to say it, because sometimes even the language that people are using doesn't allow for the differentiation. And the second is social media is everywhere nowadays, and social media ads universally block in many countries hemp being used. When hemp is being used in the username or it's being used in the ad, then they automatically block it with no reason, just to refer to legislation which says cannabis should be blocked, and without bothering into looking into the difference that hemp and industrial hemp and cannabis are not really the same. So what can you say about this?
This is the world we live in. Okay, so I prefer to operate in the world we live in. Okay, we can cry and complain and send letters and get lobbyists to go to Google and tell them to fix all that. Okay, but I mean, there are so many things you can do aside from that. Okay. There are no search engines that are blocking anything having to do with industrial hemp. Unfortunately, even the crap products that are out there can be in, okay, the sphere. I mean, you don't need Google advertising. You know, to be, I mean, that to me, that's, of course, somebody should be working on Google and making sure they understand and okay. The problem with the hemp industry to this point has been they've just been busy making money. Mostly CBD guys, yeah. So hemp became synonymous with CBD. And then the CBD business gets slightly out of control. There's a crash. Then you got a bunch of pirate cowboy type guys who come in and start making these intoxicating products from industrial hemp in the United States of America. Okay, this is also in Europe. They are destroying what so many pioneers of this industry fought for so long, which is to distinguish between the different forms of cannabis and to simply make hemp be understood as a non-psychoactive part of the cannabis family, okay, which can do all these wonderful things. Now it's becoming mixed up again with, you know, marijuana, which is very unfortunate because we're not marijuana, okay? Marijuana, you know, there should be laws for marijuana, okay, but not for, and so, you know, there's a problem right now. This is very topical, okay? I'm writing about this now because it's hurting hemp overall. Okay, despite that, as I say, in the building materials, guys, it's cool, it's happening. There are some really interesting people there, interesting products, technology, but they need a voice, okay? They don't have that, yeah? And this is one of the things that we're trying to do. Especially with our partnership with Canna Markets Group in the USA and in Pennsylvania now, our idea is to build out more strongly the channels down into the destination industries, where hemp can go, where hemp can be a valuable, raw material. So that's kind of I think we're raising ourselves to another kind of level of sophistication, like with our own business. And I just see the opportunity to really do that because of the focus on environmental sustainability things. But if you're in building materials, for example, who are you competing with? You're competing with monstrous companies who have entrenched interests in their petrochemical based stuff. And so you really need a club with the media, to crack through that. This also has to happen in the general media, So it has to happen on many levels. We're working sort of in the B2B space.
Yes.
Trying to help people connect with each other and, make a good image.
Yes, and what I learned about hemp today so far is that it's really because of this focus of industrial hemp, it makes it very easy access and kind of a go-to place to everybody who wants to see the innovations, look at other businesses, look at what's happening with industrial hemp in many different countries. So it has all those information as well. And I would really recommend anybody listening to this podcast just go there and check it out, because that was the first one that I came across when I started, doing research about industrial hemp.
I might surprise you with one thing here. After 10 years, we are now going to make people pay us to be in our world and read our information. Starting a media company, what does that mean in this day and age? I mean, that's a whole other question. How do you make a media company pay? A niche B2B media company, which is all I know is niche,
Yes.
But we're figuring it out. We're figuring it out.
Yes, and that would be something very useful to hear about. Especially, and this is where I was coming to. You mentioned the example of the building companies, and yes, hemp is very new compared to many of those materials being used in the market right now. But the same with your media outlets. The hemp today is also very niche and very unique in a sense of focusing on the industrial hemp only. So how did you find your place in all the different media outlets? Maybe even sustainability related ones were not as popular before, and you started many years back, before sustainability was such a commonly used term and before industrial hemp was growing so much. So how did you find it at the beginning, and what were those challenges that you have experienced since then?
Well, I mean, it took off. It was quite easy in the beginning because I found like a small group. I found the European Industrial Hemp Association. I went to their conference and I sort of built a network out from there of different people. And then, sort of the CBD rush, I would say it did a lot of good in some sense, but, at the end of the day, of course, it's not, but, or it hasn't recently. But what was your question? I mean,
I'm just generally curious about the challenges that you faced, because you have been operational for so many years.
It was just, this is the beauty of it. I'm sitting in the middle of nowhere in Poland. I started this business. It wasn't that I got lucky. Okay, that's what it was. I found something that sort of nobody else had really that much interest in at that moment. And there are many other websites that deal with industrial hemp, and we're one among several, but I think we probably have a longer, lifespan. Some of them shut down, some of them really reduced things. Because they grew out of CBD, My roots were more on the fiber side, So I was always going to be here. I've known for a long time that the fiber is not going to be a fast exploding thing like CBD was, yeah. And in Europe, it's true about food too. The grain seed for food, which nobody's doing that in the United States at all. All the seed in the United States is coming either from Canada or China. No, nobody's growing for grain for some reason. I don't know why. There is a market in the United States.
Right.
We have reports on all these things on him today. We every year the farm agencies put out the regular report for the United States. They really now have developed a nice battery of information. You can see every state and you can actually see what's happening, which we couldn't before. They've done that, I think, 2 years now or 3 years now. We have nothing in Europe. We don't know how much is being grown for what. Nobody records it. I mean, it's beginning probably now, country by country, to be recorded, but there's no sort of standard basis for it. We're always looking for those benchmarks, yeah. Yes. And hoping that we can, push that those benchmarks, get established and be out there, because that's what makes business work. Yeah, you need information. Yeah.
Absolutely, information
what we're based on.
Yes, absolutely. Information is key, and having access to it is even more important, especially nowadays. So it's very good to hear about your analytics report, and that also made me think to ask you, knowing that this podcast might be, as I mentioned to you before the talk, majority would be listening to it would be curious about industrial hemp, and some people would also be like hemp business owners. How would you, or who would you like to work with? Who would you like to invite to contact you and Hemp Today?
Well, first of all, if you want to get and see what we're all about, it's like go to hemptoday.net and hit the subscribe button. There are some things that will be free too. We're setting up we've got an extensive library of reports and stuff, and we will be setting up some things that won't, you wouldn't really have to pay for, that are very general in nature. But this is, and then we do advertising. These vehicles. This is a print. We print this one specifically for the event, but we're publishing quarterly now a magazine, a digital magazine. Okay, so we are approaching 40,000 in distribution. Again, as I say, because we're going into the destination industries for industrial, just the building materials, food. The carbon is a very interesting thing at this point in time, very topical. Products for carbon, carbon capture, and all this kind of thing. So we're just trying to move around as much information and be as responsible about it as we can be. And so, we sell this information. We'll be doing these reports. They will be available by subscription, the quarterly reports. The magazine is always free. So, our business model is kind of mixed up. And I think, we're gonna find our stride after 10 years. A lot of our business in the early days was the events. We did very specific, sort of sector by sector micro summits here at our place. And that was really very successful. We would have 25 people come in. So it was like 2 full days and parties in the nighttime, and very, industry building kinds of things. A lot of people made really good contacts that way. And we did in Asia, we did twice in Kathmandu. We did a hemp summit, and we did once in Latin America. But COVID broke all that down. So I don't ever want to be in a position where that much of my business is in events. I want to build my information business, because that's always necessary. And we will begin to do the events again, at least here at our place. So I don't have to go anywhere.
Exactly. Thank you. That was very informative, and hopefully many more hemp summits are coming up, organized by Hemp Today, and the circulation, the number of circulation is going to grow. If you haven't heard about Hemp Today, please go to hemptoday.net and subscribe and support a very important and very reliable source of information media
If I could
outlet.
add one thing, if you are a member of an organization and you're a hemp organization, you're having some kind of a conference, get in touch with us because we'll support you. We're looking to make money with our with what we've built up in terms of our contacts and everything, but we want to help people that are doing really cool things. So do get in touch with us if you're doing some kind of an event, because we can help promote you.
So if you are running an event, if you are having connections with industrial hemp, if you are interested in it, and if you just want to have a chat that is related, then please reach out to Kehrt, and he's very responsive. I know that, and he's going to be having a very interesting conversation with you. But most of all, it's very important to remind ourselves that knowledge is key. And awareness is where it all starts. So when you are learning about industrial hemp, when you are educating yourself, or you're showing up at events where people educate about industrial hemp, then lots of opportunities can open up for you. And that's really when you can start creating from it. Maybe adding a line to your existing business, maybe creating and developing a completely new product. And I can promise Hemp Today is going to be there for you to share the message, to support you, to help you in any way they can. So I wish so much growth, so much abundance to Hemp Today. Let it grow not only in Poland, but let it start having branches, offices in many other countries as well, and become a truly, truly profitable model to inspire many other Hemp Today outlets to be opened in all over the world. Thank you for being here, Kehrt.
Thank you. Fiber and food. It's about fiber and food. Bye. Thank you.